Our Patreon pick for this week was the 1974 film Where the Red Fern Grows, as requested by Steve Harvey's Ghost, aka somebody that I don't know the name of.
Hunter!
Thank you, Hunter, for requesting this movie, dude. Appreciate it. I guess I'll give the rundown of it. So we've got a kid, he wants dogs, and the dogs die, and that's the movie. Alright, guys, what are we thinking about this film?
I think I have a haiku as inspired by Where the Red Fern Grows, actually. Why did I write down the title with a question mark at the end? Anyway, a young rural lad dreams of having his own hounds. Oh no, bad kitty!
More like Where the Red Fern Blows, am I right, guys?
I think it's so fucking annoying that this movie has a very grounded approach to its storytelling for the most part. Bad things just kind of happen, they don't, like, play it off a ton, you know, like, when the grandfather... I think the grandfather falling is a really good example of that, where he gets lost, they're kind of, you know, caught up in the moment of what they're doing, and he just fucking eats it. And he could have died there, but, you know, it's a very realistic way of showing it off, where they don't, like, immediately draw a lot of attention to it, like, in this really dramatic way. It's just something that kind of fucking happened. And it's pretty representative of how they handled worse things happening in basically the whole rest of the movie. And then for some reason, the most impactful scene, of course, where one of the dogs dies while fighting that mountain lion, they just fucking go right before it, and this is when something bad happens or some shit. I don't know exactly what they say, but they call major attention and break all the immersion to this happening again. Pretty fucking stupid. I don't know why they did that. It completely takes away all of the impact from that scene.
It's a movie of a different era, you know, man. Things were just done differently back then. They didn't know how to make movies yet.
They were still figuring it out. They had those cameras that you had to crank.
Yeah.
I think this is a quaint little film. I think mostly I kind of appreciate it as acting as like a time capsule. Kind of gives you a little glimpse into what life was like for these people in this place and this time. It's nothing complicated. It's extremely no frills, you know. I don't know. There's really not much to say about it. It's a very straightforward story,
This is pretty much a nothing film. It's basically we're just peering into the life of this young boy, and not a whole lot happens. There's, like, of course, the big metaphor this movie's trying to go for with the story of the Red Fern and something, but I don't really know what the fuck we're supposed to take away from that, to be honest.
Love is beautiful, Jackson.
That's so crazy. Anyways, I think this movie's just okay. I think it's pretty fucking boring for a good amount of it.
Yeah.
There's not a whole ton that happens. When things do happen, it's not very exciting. Mm-hmm. Even when the kid fucking fell on an axe, I didn't even know it happened, for God's sake. It's just they just play everything so straight, which I touted as a positive at first, but it's also a negative to it because it just kind of makes for boring storytelling.
Yeah.
This movie's kind of just a nothing film. I really have nothing to say about it. It's just we're just watching some fucking kid, and he has dogs, and he likes the dogs.
Yeah, exactly. These were the types of films they liked back then, you know? They didn't want anything too fancy that would really challenge their way of thinking. They just wanted to see dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of wanting to see dogs, here's what Dylan thought about this movie.
Alright, so this is going to be my review on Where the Red Fern Grows. This was a old classic movie, I guess. I know I've always heard of this movie in passing. It's never been something I thought I'd ever go out of my way to watch, which obviously isn't the case here, but, you know, I didn't think there was anything wrong with the movie. I thought the movie was pretty wholesome. The acting is as expected for the 70s. The plot is kind of just whatever. This kind of just feels like just an old-timey TV show, to be completely honest. I don't really know what else to say about this movie. I didn't dislike it, but it just didn't feel like a movie, to be completely honest. But it was a nice, like I said, nice watch, nonetheless wholesome family movie. Both the dogs dying at the end really kind of put a damper on things. But, you know, what are you gonna do, I guess. But, yeah, anyway, without getting too much further into this, because I don't really have much else to say about this movie, I rated Where the Red Fern Grows at a C+.
Wow, that guy loves dogs now, doesn't he? Anyway, as for our rankings, I'm thinking I will start us off here. I'm going to give this one a C-.
I guess I'll go. I'm definitely the highest on this movie. I did genuinely like this one. So I'm giving it a B+.
Typical Tanner fucking liking movies. Dylan gave it a C+. Jackson, where are you falling?
I gave it a flat C.
Okay.
I don't think it. I think some of the acting is all right. I think it does well for its time. I could see showing this movie to my kid and be like, hey, you little fucking Helen, you piece of shit, be like this fucker, or I'm gonna enslave you. Anyways, that lands it at a C+ overall.
Whoa. By the way, you don't really get the time skip at all for him saving up for the dogs. It took 2 years.
No, fuck, I forgot to mention that. Like, I feel like that's the part that fucks me up the most about this movie, is that there's no fucking progress of time whatsoever throughout the entire thing, because no one ages whatsoever. So you have no idea how long he's had these dogs, how long he spent saving up for them. He's like, it sure took a long time, which, like, to a kid that can mean like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're probably like 3 years deep into the time span of this movie with the dogs growing up to be, like the adult dogs they are at the point they died, and prior to him getting them, and he looks the exact fucking same. He's a kid. Kids grow up real fast and change very dramatically in that period. So
especially his little tiny sisters.
Yeah.
I really don't like that you said that, but I'm not going to change my fucking ranking.
Also, he would have been going from, in those 3 years, from 12 to 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, he should look dramatically different.
Kids didn't hit puberty as early back then because of poor nutrition.
They should have found 2 generic blonde kids to have a pre and post as.
Yeah. They should have, and also they should have had some, some establishing shots where you show the seasons changing or some shit,
Yeah, because like that, it's also just like the same throughout the whole thing. So for all we know, this all took place over one summer.
Exactly.
Except for that one time where it looks the exact same and then randomly it starts like fucking ice raining or something.
Yeah.
Right.